Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
You know, right now, we are confronting a very dangerous ideology here in the United States of America. Well, two very dangerous ideologies. One of them, I think we've talked about pretty much, so we may have to talk about again, Islamism. But it is Marxism that we are dealing with. And what I continue to hear, and these are, astute people, I guess, on news programs or whatever, they keep saying socialist, 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 socialist. But they're really not getting to the heart of the matter. They're really not understanding the fundamental, the foundation of this ideology that we're fighting against. And you have to go back and read Karl Marx's 1848 Communist Manifesto. Because the League of the Just, which was later renamed the Communist League in 1847, they went to Marx and they paid him to write this Communist Manifesto. And the thing is that when you peel the onion back, this is really what we're fighting against. Socialism and communism are subsidiary models, but the ideology is really Marxism. And again, it kind of reminds me about when that movie Patton, when Patton was there in North Africa, he had been put in charge of, I think it was the Second Corps, and he came up against the Afrika Korps, and he defeated them in a battle after the Afrika Korps had just absolutely decimated the American army at Kasserine Pass. And in the movie, you remember George C. Scott, who was portraying General Patton, he said, "Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book." And what was that book? That book was called Attacks. And it was Rommel's exploits as a young infantry lieutenant and captain during World War I. And see, it's so important that we read the books. We read the Communist Manifesto. We read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, because if not, we don't understand this ideology. We don't understand their goals and objectives. We don't understand their quote unquote nuanced words, because they're very good at coming up with words to sound great. And Marxism has really been doing this ever since it came on the stage in 1848 with the Communist Manifesto. And understand, the intent, the manifesto, the intent was to incite violent revolution and was a recipe for tyranny itself. In the Communist Manifesto, this is what because it broke us down into the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Today, you hear people talk about the millionaires and billionaires and the working class. No different. They just changed the language, just the same as, all of a sudden communists calling themselves progressives. I remember when I was in Congress and, I was asked about this at a town hall meeting in Jensen Beach back in 2012. Very nice lady came up and said she was worried about our country. She was worried about these people with this socialist mentality. And I said, ma'am, it's not just a socialist ideology or mentality. What we really have to be concerned about is that this is communism. coming into our country. And I said, there are about 78 to 81 or so of them. And who was I talking about? The Congressional Progressive Caucus. Because communists, once again, just the same as the League of the Just renamed themselves the Communist League, that's what the communists did in order to infiltrate and come in and make themselves more palatable here in the United States of America. They didn't, I don't want to call ourselves communists. I mean, Americans might not accept that. So they call themselves progressives. And see, when I brought out that little tidbit, everything died down. Nobody wanted to talk about them. Before that, there was like, well, Congressman West, do you think you should apologize for saying that there are communists in Congress? Nope. See, this is what happens when you read and you study them and you understand who they are. You can go on offense. And you can put them in the untenable position. You can put them on defense. Because right now, I tell you, if we don't understand this, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So understand what Marxism is. And understand, now let's talk about the two breakdowns of Marxism. Socialism, which is the economic model, and then communism, which is the societal model. And never forget that Vladimir Lenin said the end goal of socialism, the economic model, is communism, the societal model. So here's the foundation up here, the Marxist theory and beliefs. Here is the economic model that will transition the societal model to the societal model, the classless society, or as it says here, the dictatorship of the proletariat. The dictatorship of the proletariat. And it's funny to me because it's always these highly educated, little elite, snot-nosed intellectuals that run around, and they're the ones that are talking about overthrowing the bourgeoisie, overthrowing the millionaires and billionaires.